If your feet slide off the footplate, drag on the ground, your knees flop apart, and no matter how much you set them back on your footplate, they fall off. This video is for you. If your legs go numb, if you feel like they're tingling, they hurt, this video is for you. Feet that don't stay put look like a small annoyance, but they're really not. Your feet and your legs are a symptom of how your pelvis is positioned, and they can, in turn, affect how your pelvis sits. So when that foundation of your pelvis is off, it doesn't just stay down there, it works its way all the way up. Let's figure out why it's happening and what to do about it. But before we do, my name is KJ Phillips. I'm an ATP, SMS for over 10 years, and welcome to Adaptive Solutions. The purpose of this channel is to raise the standard in assistive technology by giving high quality, digestible education at no cost direct to the patients, clinicians, and even to my peers, which is just part of my overarching life's purpose to improve people's lives and unlock the potential in others. Let's get to it. Here's the idea I want you to hold on to the whole way through. When we talk about posture, your posture starts with your pelvis. Just like a building, the pelvis is the foundational layer. Your posture stacks up along the way from there. Now, your feet and your legs are connected to your pelvis, and so if they are improperly supported, they disrupt that foundation, and that gives you problems in two directions. Down low, you get the obvious stuff. Feet sliding off, pressure sores, maybe from loading too much onto one spot, onto your heel, maybe your toes, swelling, numbness, tingling. But up high, that bad foundation is also quietly disrupting your posture through the rest of your trunk, making it easier for you to slide, lean, or tip your pelvis back. Fix the feet, and you're often fixing things you didn't even know were connected. So let's go through what actually goes wrong down there. Number one, the position of your feet and knees is largely a consequence of how well supported your pelvis is. And so before you touch a single foot plate, before you do anything to your foot plate, the very first thing you have to do is get your pelvis scooted all the way back. I said this so much in my daily practice as an ATP that I made my very first video about this. Go watch it. Scoot your butt back. People need to get their butt back even further than they think. In short, and more technically speaking, the PSIS, the posterior superior iliac spine, those two crests on the top of your pelvis in the back, they should be supported and resting against the backrest. If you're slumped down or you're not getting good pelvic support, nothing below it will sit right. So step one, before adjusting anything else, adjust your pelvis. Either you or you can have some help to lean forward, scoot your butt, wiggle your butt all the way back, and then sit back into your chair and work from there. The quick way to tell if someone's scooted all the way back, either yourself or maybe a caregiver is doing this to a loved one, is to place their hand back behind the pelvis. And with one hand, I should be able to touch that little bony prominence on the back of their pelvis and the backrest. If there's any space to wiggle your fingers, you're not really touching and supporting the back of your pelvis yet. So that's the number one thing to do. All right, so once you've made sure your pelvis is in the right spot, on the foot plates themselves, the first thing to check is the height. This is a big one, and it needs to hit a Goldilocks zone to really share and distribute weight in the right way. If your foot plates are too high, your knees get pushed up above the support of your cushion. And guess what that does? It lets your knees flop off to the side or maybe rotate to one side together. And that dumps your weight straight back onto your sit bones and your tailbone. The technical names for these are your ischial tuberosities and your sacrum. That's the boniest parts on your butt where you sit, and guess what? Also the absolute highest risk zones for pressure wounds. And so if your knees are up above the cushion substantially, you're loading all of your weight onto the highest risk parts of your pelvis. Here's the principle underneath that. Your weight gets spread across whatever surface area is supporting it. Spread it out over more area, and the pressure at any one particular spot goes down. If you shrink that surface area that's supporting your weight, the pressure spikes. So if you weigh 100 pounds and your foot plates are too high, instead of sharing that 100 pounds across your thighs, your seat, and your feet, you can dump almost all that weight right onto the highest risk bony parts of your bottom. So that's a big deal. If your foot plates are too low, you hang weight off the front of your wheelchair. And as we covered in a previous video, that makes it much easier for your pelvis to slide forward. And even if it's not dramatically low, if the foot plates just aren't carrying enough of your weight, your legs hang over the edge of the cushion. Depending on the cushion, that firm edge presses up into the underside of your legs, and too much weight there can cut off blood flow, which shows up for you as numbness, pins and needles tingling in your lower legs, or just pain. So, how do you find the Goldilocks zone? After I set the foot plates, I slide my hand underneath my patient's thigh and I feel the resistance, aka how much weight are they putting underneath their thigh. If my hand slides all the way underneath with basically no resistance, the foot plates are too high. The thighs being lifted, and so I'll bring the foot plates down. If there is so much resistance that I can't get my hand underneath, or I feel like a pinching at the front edge of the cushion, they're too low and I'll bring them up. And if you have to err one way, err a little high rather than a little low, because airing too low is going to cut off circulation and that just gets really uncomfortable. It's not bearable. All right, so after you set the foot plate at the Goldilocks zone, you're also going to adjust the angle of the foot plate. A lot of wheelchairs have angle adjustable foot plates, and here's what it's actually for. It's meant to accommodate your foot when your foot sits at a certain angle because of a contracture. What that means is some people can't flex their foot flat anymore. Think of like toes to nose. That's flexing your foot. Some people, after they've been sitting for a long time, actually have their toes permanently flexed down towards the floor. This is called the plantar flexion contracture or drop foot as a result of drop foot a lot of times. They've lost that range of motion, and when that happens, you need a foot plate that matches the angle of your foot as best as it can. And the reason is the same principle. You're bearing weight through your feet, and we want to spread it out over as much tissue as possible. Imagine your foot, we'll make it dramatic, is permanently pointed way down. You got a plantar flexion contracture, and when your foot meets a flat foot plate, the only thing actually touching it is the very tips of your toes. Combine that with what we just learned about pressure, and you're putting the whole weight of your leg onto a little tiny patch of your toe, which makes it very easy to develop a pressure sore there if you're not careful. This is especially risky when you cannot feel your feet, like a spinal cord injury without sensation, or a condition like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis where you lose the feeling in your extremities. All right, so once you have those two dialed in, you also have certain things that can help, like straps, guides, foot supports. Depending on your chair, you may have a few extra tools for controlling your foot position. Some chairs let you add thigh guides, also called thigh adductors, or like a pommel, a thigh abductor. This is widely different depending on the type of chair. Someone in a ultra lightweight rigid manual wheelchair is probably not going to have any of this. But you can set those supports the same way using the hand technique if you do have a thigh adductor that helps to keep your knees in line with your hips, keep your legs from splaying out. You place your hand in between the thigh and the pad and check to make sure there's not too much pressure and not so little pressure that you basically aren't bearing any weight on it at all. They can give you really good control, and if you match a good control right there at the thigh, not right at the knee, but just before it, as well as setting that Goldilocks zone for the foot plate, you can get really good foot control without using any kinds of straps at all, which is my preferred way to help people to sit properly, is not by strapping them down, but by actually just having the wheelchair support them from behind as best as possible. Like I said, the specific tools vary a lot by chair. In like a ultralight rigid manual wheelchair, you may have a calf strap behind your legs and a footplate that is angled so that your feet are tucked way underneath you. They do that because they're outside a lot and there's lots of bumps and uneven terrain, and that's to keep them from bouncing off the footplate from behind when you're on rough ground. In a power wheelchair, you may also have toe loops or like a Velcro strap that goes across the top of your feet. But here's the part I really want you to hear and that you need to know when you're dealing with straps. Straps do not fix problems, certainly not the ones that start at your pelvis. The order really matters. Get the pelvis in position first, then get the foot plates in that Goldilocks zone, and then set the angle, support the knees if that's necessary, and then if your chair has the ability to have straps and you want that, then secure the feet with straps. When people skip all of those first steps and just strap the feet down, not only does it not really work to do what they want, it usually locks them into a worse posture. Once the pelvis is set and the foot plates are dialed in, here's a quick way to check that your feet are carrying the weight that you want. This is person by person and it really depends. It's actually hard to give advice that applies to all wheelchair users. But given that this information is not only to help patients check their own fit, but to help clinicians and other ATPs or technicians working in this field do an amazing job as well, I'll give you some specific tips that apply to a large percentage of the population. Once I set all those supports that I said, I will take the person's foot and kind of shake it side to side. If the foot moves around totally freely, there's no friction between the foot and the foot plate. There's not enough weight going through it. If I can't budge it at all, there's too much weight. You want it in between. It'll move if I really try. That tells me that they're bearing some weight through their feet. And for some diagnoses, this actually really matters because bearing weight through the feet isn't just about pressure management, it's genuinely therapeutic. It's actually a feedback response through the body. With cerebral palsy, for example, weight bearing helps to quiet down a lot of the body's reflexes and spasticity from triggering. It's the same reason getting someone into a standing frame is so healthy for them. It helps to quiet down that tone and the body's reflexes. Along the same lines, someone who's been paralyzed, like I mentioned, may tuck their feet way back under their chair and load extra weight through the balls of their feet because that ball of the feet weight bearing actually makes it harder for their extension spasticity to fire. The more active you are, the more you're outside in all kinds of terrain, it's very easy for that extension spasticity to fire, and the more you'll want your feet and legs very well secured and weight bearing so that you don't have to worry about hurting them. Now, if you've got new, especially sudden swelling, numbness, or like pain through your legs, that's a sign to contact your medical provider promptly because it can cause circulation issues that need attention. The same goes for skin breakdown on your feet, heels, or a sudden loss of feeling or motion. This video is educational. It does not replace an in-person evaluation. It's meant to help you understand what's going on so that you can ask better questions and figure out the next step that's right for you. If you do want a second set of eyes, I offer wheelchair pain and positioning consultations. Head to my website, book a consult, and you can send me pictures of your setup, a description of the symptoms that you want to address, and we'll get on a video call to identify the likely causes and give you a list of recommendations to bring to your seating team in person. The link to my website's in the description, or you can email me at info@getadaptivesolutions.com, spelled just the way it shows up on the screen. Next in the series, we're going to keep going down that list of those 5 reasons your wheelchair may not be working for you. Subscribe so that you don't miss it. While you're at it, go ahead and like this video, and importantly, share it with someone who might benefit, because it's through word of mouth that information like this gets widely spread and it helps me personally. Thank you so much for your attention and your interest. See you in the next video.